former one Secretary of the Government, who was standing as 4-star general, and he told me, he said, I don't agree there because you're a bunch of losers and suckers. My son was not a loser, he's not a sucker. You're the sucker, you're the loser. President Trump.
Oh, he's telling Trump that? Holy shit. Jeez.
He made that up. We put it in commercials. We've notified him. We had 19 people that said it themselves. And think of this. Who would say, I'm at a cemetery or I'm talking about our veterans? Because nobody's taken better care. I'm so glad this came up. And he brought it up. There's nobody that's taken better care of our soldiers than I have. To think that I would, in front of generals and others, say suckers and losers. We have 19 people that said it was never said by me. It was made up by him, just like Russia was made up, just like the 51 intelligence agents are made up, just like the new thing with the 16 economists are talking. It's the same thing. 51 intelligence agents said that the laptop was Russia disinformation. It wasn't. That came from
Lord.
It wasn't Russia disinformation. He made
Stay firefighter, Bob.
Losers, so he should apologize to me right now. Four-star General standing on your side and was on your staff. He said you said it. Period. That's number one. And number two, the idea that I have to apologize to you for anything along the line. We've done more for veterans than any president has in America today.
Yeah, okay, that's why your son.
Now are their families.
Oh my God. Oh my gosh, because you.
Care for our veterans when they come home and their families and quickly.
Oh my gosh.
That's what we were doing.
He is such a moron.
We're doing more for veterans than ever before in our history.
All right, thank you so much.
Capital foreign policy. I want to begin with Russia's war.
Yeah, Bob, he's laying on the floor watching his videos while we're watching the presidential debate.
Russian President Vladimir Putin says he'll only end this war if Russia keeps the Ukrainian territory it has already claimed and Ukraine abandons its bid to join NATO.
Marshall, aka Batman's in the floor watching his videos on his videos on the floor on his phone.
That's what you call it. That we've ever had. They can't stand it. So let's get that.
Biden's a moron, Bob. That's who. He's babbling so bad.
And that's based on every single.
He's backtracking over his own words.
If we had a real president, a president that knew, that was respected by Putin, he would have never invaded Ukraine.
Because they have no teleprompter for him, he's lost.
People know. You know, they talk about numbers. You can double those numbers, maybe triple those numbers.
They have no notes, no nothing.
In fact, I think he encouraged Russia for going in. I'll tell you what happened. He was so bad with Afghanistan. It was such a horrible, embarrassing, most embarrassing moment in the history of our country, that when Putin watched that and he saw the incompetence, and he should have fired those generals like I fired the one that you mentioned. And so he's got no love lost. But he should have fired those generals.
No, he can't, Bob.
Got fired. The most embarrassing moment in the history of our country.
That he cannot.
When we left billions of dollars of equipment behind, we lost 13 beautiful soldiers, and 38 soldiers were obliterated. And by the way, we left people behind too. We left American citizens behind. When Putin saw that, he said, you know what? I think we're going to go in and maybe take my... This was his dream. I talked to him about it, his dream. The difference is he never would have invaded Ukraine. Never. Just like Israel would have never been invaded in a million years by Hamas. You know why? Because Iran was broke with me. I wouldn't let anybody do business with it. They ran out of money. They were broke. They had no money for Hamas. They had no money for anything. No money for terror. That's why you had no terror at all during my administration.
Yeah, Biden's slower than Christmas.
The world is blowing up under him.
President Biden.
Never heard so much malarkey in my whole life.
Oh, he used the word malarkey. Oh my goodness.
Iran attacked American troops. Caused brain damage for a number of these troops, and he did nothing about it. He was president.
Did he just say brain damage for the troops?
That's all it is. He didn't do a thing.
Oh my God, it sounded like he just said that he,
Number two,
brain damage.
100,000 Americans and others out of Afghanistan during that area. Number three, found ourselves in a situation where if you take a look at what Trump did in Ukraine.
Bob, I hope you can hear and understand that babbling fool. I don't understand a word he says.
You do whatever you want. And that's exactly what Trump did. Just encourage him. Do whatever you want.
And he went in. Listen to what he said when he went in. He was going to take Kyiv in 5 days, remember? Because it's part of the old Soviet Union. That's what he wanted to reestablish. Kyiv. And he, in fact,
Exactly, Bob.
He wasn't able to get it done. And they've lost thousands and thousands of troops. 500,000 troops.
For 1 minute, I just want to go back to my original question, which is, are Putin's terms acceptable to you? Keeping the territory in Ukraine?
No, they're not acceptable. But look, this is a war that never should have started.
That's right.
In this war, he led everybody along. He's given $200 billion now or more to Ukraine. He's given $200 billion. That's a lot of money. I don't think there's ever been anything
Sure
like it.
is.
Every time that Zelensky comes to this country, he walks away with $60 billion. He's the greatest salesman ever. And I'm not knocking him. I'm not knocking anything. I'm only saying
Exactly,
the money that we're
Bob.
spending on this war.
Biden, all he knows how to do is talk
It
shit.
should have never happened. I will have that war settled between Putin and Zelensky as president-elect before I take office on January 20th. I'll have that war settled. People being killed so needlessly, so stupidly, and I will get it settled, and I'll get it settled fast before I take office.
And
Why do you have a minute?
the fact is that Putin's a war criminal. He's killed thousands and thousands of people. And he has made one thing clear. He wants to reestablish what was part of the Soviet Empire, not just a piece of it.
Biden, the only thing is you should have stayed out of that war. It had nothing to do with us, you
I
jerk.
think we stop when if he takes Ukraine. What do you think happens to Poland? What do you think
Stuck your nose into something it ought not be in.
So if you want a war, you ought to find out what he's going to do, because if in fact he does what he says and walks away, by the way, all that money we give Ukraine, weapons we make here in the United States, we give them the weapons, not the money at this point. And our NATO allies have produced as much funding for Ukraine as we have. That's why we're strong.
Thank you. Moving on to the Middle East. In October, Hamas attacked Israel, killing more than 1,000
No,
people,
he's
hundreds of hostages.
Put his nose somewhere it shouldn't have been despite his face.
Still alive are 5 Americans.
Exactly what he did. The jerk. He should have kept his nose out of Ukraine and all of their Ukraine's business. It's what happens when nosy people start messing with other people's business. They do it to spite their face. Cut their nose off to spite their face. Is that him beating on the door out there?
Everyone from
Coda.
the United Nations Security Council,
Sounds like he's beating on
to
something.
the G7, to the Israelis, and Netanyahu himself have endorsed the plan.
I'm putting that shit up so we can get the fucking bed tonight.
It's just 3 stages to it. The first stage is treat the hostages for a ceasefire. The second phase is a ceasefire with additional conditions. The third phase is the end of the war. The only one who wants the war to continue is Hamas. Number one. We're the only ones standing out. We're still pushing hard to get them to accept. In the meantime, what's happened? In Israel, we're finding the only thing I've denied Israel was 2,000-pound bombs. They don't work very well in populated areas. They kill a lot of innocent people. We're providing Israel with all the weapons they need and when they need them. And by the way, I'm the guy that organized the war against Iran when they had a full-blown intercontinental ballistic missile attack on Israel.
Spit it out,
No one was hurt.
Biden.
No one Israeli was
Spit it
hurt.
out. Get the chewing gum out your mouth so we can hear you.
We saved Israel. We are the biggest
Oh my gosh.
support for Israel of anyone in the world.
Why did I go
And so
live?
that's-
Because
those are 2 different things.
I just want everybody to know that, you know, he's a babbling fool. Especially when he doesn't have a teleprompter in front of him. You know, it just, because they have no audience, no teleprompter. All they have is a pen, a notepad, and a bottle of water.
Going back to Ukraine for 1 second.
And they can actually see how what a babbling idiot Biden is.
100 billion or maybe more than that, less than us. Why doesn't he call them and say, you got to put up your money like I did with NATO? I got them to put up hundreds of billions of dollars. The Secretary General of NATO said Trump did the most incredible job I've ever seen. They wouldn't have any, they were going out of business. We were spending almost 100% of the money was paid by us. He didn't do that. He's got you got to ask these people to put up the money. We're over $100 billion more spent, and it has a bigger impact on them because of location, because we have an ocean in between. You got to ask them as far as Israel and Hamas. Israel's the one that wants to go. He said the only one who wants to keep going is Hamas. Actually, Israel is the one. And you should let him go and let him finish the job. He doesn't want to do it. He's become like a Palestinian, but they don't like him because he's a very bad Palestinian. He's a weak one.
President Biden, you have a minute?
I mean, what's foolishness? This is the guy who wants to get out of NATO. You understand NATO? He's going to pull out of NATO. The idea that we have our strength lies in our alliances as well. It may be a big ocean, but you're ever going to avoid a war.
Exactly, Bob. Exactly.
What happens if, in fact, we have...
Because he's sharing it with all of his family. The rest of his family's got the money that he's embezzling and giving to his family. Exactly.
Go ahead. Let Putin go in and control Ukraine, and then we'll move on to Poland and other places. It's just, it happens then. He has no idea what the hell he's talking about. And by the way, I got 50 other nations around the world to support Ukraine, including Japan and South Korea, because they understand that this kind of dislocation is a serious threat to the whole world peace. No major war in Europe has ever been able to be contained just to Europe.
President Trump, just to follow up, would you support the creation of an independent Palestinian state in order to achieve peace in the region?
I have to see, but before we do that,
You gotta stay in here and help me figure out what the heck Biden's saying. He's mumbling so bad.
no changes with the European.
Why are you getting so worked up on there? You know damn well he don't know what he's fucking doing.
Yeah, I know he don't know what he's doing, but I'm trying to listen to him and see exactly what he's saying.
They don't know anything that we have. We're supposed to take their cars, their food, their everything, their agriculture. I changed that. But the big thing I changed is they won't pay. And the only reason that he can play games with NATO is because I got them to put up hundreds of billions of dollars. I said, and he's right about this, I said, no, I'm not going to support NATO if you don't pay. They asked me that question, would you guard us against Russia at a very secret meeting of the 28 states at that time, the nations at that time. And they said, no, if you don't pay, I won't do that. And you know what happened? Billions and billions of dollars came flowing in the next day and the next month. But now we're in the same position. We're paying everybody's bills.
Let's turn to the issue of democracy. A former president,
Yeah, and that money should stay in the states. It should not go to everybody else.
You rallied your supporters that day. Some of them stormed the Capitol to stop the constitutionally mandated counting of electoral votes. As president, you swore an oath to, quote, preserve, protect, and defend, unquote, the Constitution. What do you say to voters who believe that you violated that oath through your actions and inaction on January 6th and worry that you'll do it again?
Well, I don't think too many believe that. And let me tell you about January 6th. On January 6th, we had a great border. Nobody coming through, very few. On January 6th, we were energy independent. On January 6th, we had the lowest taxes ever. We had the lowest regulations ever. On January 6th, we did all over the world.
That's right, Bob. You can't understand a word Biden says.
And we're now laughed at. We're like a bunch of stupid people. What happened to the United States' reputation under this man's leadership is horrible, including weaponization, which I'm sure at some point we'll be talking about, where he goes after his political opponent because he can't beat him fair and square.
You have 80 seconds left. My question was, what do you say to those voters who believe that you violated your constitutional oath through your actions and inaction on January 6, 2021, and worry that you'll do it again?
Well, I didn't say that to anybody. I said peacefully and patriotically. And Nancy Pelosi, if you just watched the news from 2 days ago, on tape to her daughter, who's a documentary filmmaker, what they said, but she's saying, oh no, it's my responsibility, I was responsible for this. Because I offered her 10,000 soldiers or National Guard, and she turned them down. And the mayor in writing, by the way, the mayor, in writing, turned it down, the mayor of D.C. They turned it down. I offered 10,000 because I could see, I had virtually nothing to do. They asked me to go make a speech. I could see what was happening. Everybody was saying they're going to be there on January 6th. They're going to be there. And I said, you know what? There's a lot of people coming. You could feel it. You could feel it too, and you could feel it. And I said, they ought to have some National Guard or whatever. And I offered it to her, and she now admits that she turned it down. And it was the same day she was, I don't know, she can't be very happy with her daughter because it made her into a liar. She said, I take full responsibility for January 6th.
President Biden?
Look, he encouraged those folks to go to
He
Capitol.
fumbling over the words.
I sat in the dining room off the Oval Office. He sat there for 3 hours watching, being begged by his vice president and a number of his colleagues in the Republican side as well to do something, to call for a stop, to end it. Instead, he talked about the people being patriots and a great patron of America. In fact, he says he'll not forgive them for what they've done. Well, they've been convicted. He says he wants to commute their sentences and say that, he went to every single court in the nation. I don't know how many cases, scores of cases, including the Supreme Court. And they said, no, this guy is responsible for doing what was done. He did a damn thing. And these people should be in jail. And they should be being held accountable. And he wants to let them all out. And now he says that he's losing again, such a whiner that he is, that they can have a bloodbath.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump?
What they've done to some people that are so innocent, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. What you have done, how you've destroyed the lives of so many people. When they ripped down Portland, when they ripped down many other cities, so you go to Minnesota, Minneapolis, what they've done there, with the fires all over the city. If I didn't bring in the National Guard, that city would have been destroyed. When you look at all of they took over big chunks of Seattle. I was all set to bring in the National Guard. They heard that, they saw that.
I know, he looks like he's just staring into nothing.
This whole subject is
It's like, looks like a daggum zombie.
One other thing, the Unselect Committee, which is basically two horrible Republicans that are all gone now out of office, and Democrats, all Democrats, they destroyed and deleted all of the information.
No, it's Biden, Trump ain't being a baby about it. It's just,
And they deleted and destroyed all of the information. They should go to jail.
but if anything, Trump is fighting for it. Biden's just,
The only person in this stage is a convicted felon is the man I'm looking at right now.
oh my God, he did, he threw that card in there. Look at him.
The fact is that there was no effort on his part to stop what was going on.
Little does he know his son's a convicted felon too.
Everyone was convicted. It's supposed to be convicted. The idea is that they're going to kill somebody.
Go on, Elvis Lee. Y'all go on, lie down.
Occupied offices, turned over desks, turned over statues.
Elvis, bedtime.
If those people are patriots, come on. When I asked him those first two debates we had, the first time around, I said, will you denounce the Proud Boy? He said, no, I'm going to stand by. The idea he's refusing to, will you denounce these guys? Will you denounce the people we're talking about now? Will you denounce the people who talk that up? What are you going to do?
I'm going to give you a minute, President Trump, for a follow-up question on that. After a jury convicted you of 34 felonies last month, you said if reelected, you would, quote, have every right to go after, unquote, your political opponents. You just talked about members of the Select Committee on January 6th going to jail. And your main political opponent is standing on stage with you tonight. Can you clarify
You're all good,
what
Bob.
it means about you feeling you have every right to go after your political opponents?
Well, I said my retribution is going to be success. We're going to make this country successful again, because right now it's a failing nation. My retribution is going to be success. But when he talks about a convicted felon, his son is a convicted felon at a very high level. His son is convicted, going to be convicted.
All right, Bob. Good night. Have a good rest.
Should have been convicted before, but his Justice Department let the statute of limitations lapse in the most important things. But he could be a convicted felon as soon as he gets out of office. Joe could be a convicted felon with all of the things that he's done. He's done horrible things. All of the death calls at the border, telling the Ukrainian people that we're going to want $1 billion or you change the prosecutor. Otherwise, you're not getting $1 billion. If I ever said that, that's quid pro quo. But we're not going to do anything. We're not going to give you $1 billion unless you change the prosecutor having to do with his son. This man is a criminal. This man.
Okay, Bob.
You're lucky. I did nothing wrong. We'd have a system that was rigged and disgusting. I did nothing wrong.
Thank you, President Trump. President Biden, you have said, I'm coming right to you, sir. You want to respond? Go ahead. I'll give you a minute to respond.
The idea that I did anything wrong relative to what you're talking about is outrageous. It's simply a lie, number one. Number two, the idea that you have a right to seek retribution against any American just because you're president is wrong. It's simply wrong. No president's ever spoken like that.
And why he never accepted a paycheck at all. But Biden's stupid ass right here is giving money, taking money, and giving his family plenty of wealth money from all of us. I don't understand why he's. I don't understand. Marshall, turn it down some, please.
I got one down.
Okay, thank you.
And in that section of closeout, number one. Number two, that was a case that was started and moved. They moved a high-ranking official, DOJ, into the Manhattan DA's office to start that case. That case is going to be appealed and won. We had a very terrible judge, a horrible judge, Democrat. The prosecutor were all high-ranking Democrats, appointed people, and both the civil and the criminal. He basically went after his political opponent because he thought it was going to damage me. But when the public found out about these cases, because they understand it better than he does, he has no idea what these cases are. But when they found out about these cases, you know what they did? My poll numbers went up way up. You know that because you're reporting it. And we took in more money in the last 2 weeks than we've ever taken in the history of any campaign. I don't think any campaign has ever taken. Hundreds of millions of dollars came pouring in because the public knows it's a scam. And it's a guy that's after his political opponent because he can't win fair and square.
Thank you, President Trump. President Biden, you have said, quote, Donald Trump and his massive Republicans are determined to destroy American democracy. Do you believe that the tens of millions of Americans who are likely to vote for President Trump will be voting against American democracy?
The more they know about what he's done, yes. The more they know about what he's done. And there's a lot more coming. He's got a lot of cases along the road coming on. He's got a whole range of issues he has to face. I don't know what the juries will do, but I do know he has a real problem. And so the fact that, could you ever think you hear any president say that I'm going to seek retribution? You ever hear any president say that we thought Hitler had some good ideas? What got me involved to run the first place after my son died, I decided in Iraq because of Iraq. I said I wasn't going to run again. I saw what happened in Charlottesville, Virginia. People coming out of the woods carrying swastikas, like torches, and seeing the Sin and Snake bride.
What does that have to do with the?
And the young woman got
Trump's like, you stupid bumbling idiot. What are you talking about?
But what do you think of those people? The people who the ones got killed, one who tried to stop it.
That has nothing to do. What are you going to do to make this world better?
Whatever say. Nazis coming out of fields carrying torches.
Oh my gosh. What is Nazi? Hey, unless he's a Nazi himself.
This is the guy who says Hitler's done some good things. Don't you know what they are? Good things Hitler's done, that's what he said. It still has no sense.
It has nothing to do with America. I mean, he's a bumbling idiot and is not making no sense.
Because when you see the sentence, it said 100% exoneration on this. So he just keeps it going. He says he ran because of
Exactly, Bob. He's a bumbling fool.
It was his last chance. He's not equipped to be president. You know it, and I know this. You think we have a debate. We're trying to justify his presidency. His presidency is, without question, the worst president, the worst presidency in the history of our country. We shouldn't be having a debate about it. There's nothing to debate. He made up the Charlottesville story, and you'll see it's debunked all over the place. Every anchor, every reasonable anchor has debunked it. And just the other day it came out.
That shocked look on his face. It's been debunked.
Story. He knows that, and he didn't run because of Charlottesville. He used that as an excuse to run.
President Biden.
Debunked. It happened. All you have to do is listen to what was said at the time. And the idea that somehow that's the only reason I ran. I ran because I was worried a guy like this guy could get elected. If he thought there were good people coming out of that forest, carrying those woods, carrying those torches, then he didn't deserve to be president.
It makes you wonder, coming out of the wood, carrying torches, is what year is he living in, I wonder? Is he having backflashes to when he was in the war? Oh my God.
Cabinet officers refused to endorse him this time. His vice president hasn't endorsed him this time. So why? Why? They know him well. They serve him.
Thank you, Bob.
Why are they endorsing him?
Thank you, President Biden. We're going to be right back with more.
Ooh, Walmart's got some money. Look at that. His wallet's full of some money. Marshall, look at all that money you got left over from school. Woo! Honey, you can take Mama out to dinner.
Yeah.
You got enough money there to go on a date with Mama.
Daddy money.
No, Daddy's gonna put your money back in your wallet, buddy.
Yeah.
That's Momar's money. That's Batman's money.
Yeah.
Yep. What was the charges that Biden got? I can't remember the charges that he was charged with.
One of them was concealed weapon, and
One of his was carrying a concealed weapon. I have no idea. And he was charged with giving his family all that money.
he had felony, federal.
Yeah, that was like a federal offense that he did, giving all of the money to his family, Bob.
On that pistol.
Oh, for that pistol, yeah. But his son was charged with 4 felonies.
I've never cooked dry aged stuff. I'm really struggling.
And so experience has never heard of a compromise pan.
Did you see Will Turching steaks on TikTok?
Hey, Batman, you better put your wings down, boy.
Wednesday, July 10th on Fox.
Yeah, whoa. Mama, back up for the wall.
Politics. They're representatives of the people and all human argue about anything they like.
Is it over?
No, not yet.
No, they're just too distracted to hate you. Just as
It's okay.
Popeyes returns. Fifth fall on
What?
Michelin innovates once more
Hey,
with
the money-
Michelin acoustic technology.
It's going to be more than a month in jail. That's a federal offense.
Low vibrations.
Yeah. I got my own money, you know.
Michelin, motion for life.
Here's to the courageous Americans. Here's to the selfless patriots. To the men and women who protect this
What is it?
life out here. We call them heroes.
I got myself.
To recognize current military, veterans, and first responders,
Oh, well.
we're announcing a program to honor them all. We call it Hometown Heroes. In celebration, we're donating $1 million to charities that support these heroic men and women. Tractor Supply, proud to recognize the Hometown Heroes
Yeah, Bob.
all across
Biden's
America.
being a
As the
puss.
conservative outsider on National
He's a
Special
jerk,
Counsel, I
and
am standing firm. The radical
we don't like
didn't
Biden.
like it when I fought their tax hikes
Biden's a
or
prick.
strengthened our police. But public service
Yep.
shouldn't be easy.
He should no longer be in office, period. But I'm glad you got to stop in and hang out with me. You're awesome, Bob. Appreciate it. Talking to Bob on the live. Firefighter Bob. Woo. Dropped my phone.
Urgent. Taking action can save lives. Get flood alerts in advance with our Code Red Weather app.
Why?
So you can be prepared if there's flooding in your area. Fox 17 News Code Red Weather alerts, empowers, protects.
Welcome back to the CNN Presidential.
Oh, yeah.
Live.
Those ads are stupid.
Let's talk about persistent challenges you both faced in your first terms and you'd certainly face again in the second term. President Biden, while black unemployment dropped to a record low under your presidency, black families still earn far less than white families. Black mothers are still 3 times more likely to die for pregnancy-related causes, and black Americans are imprisoned at 5 times the rate of white Americans. What do you say to black voters who are disappointed that you haven't made more progress?
Marshall. Say hi, Bob.
Hi, Bob.
Say hi, Firefighter Bob.
Businesses that were started in the time of history.
Yeah.
Number 2, the wages.
And that's his daddy.
Black unemployment is the lowest level span.
Your daddy to hide.
Number 3, we're trying to provide housing for black Americans.
I'm gonna see if you got any more money here.
Oh, Daddy's gonna check, make sure you ain't got no more money hid.
I've
Daddy.
been finding money. You've been hiding money from me.
Keep people.
I got money. You always get money from me to buy a popsicle, and then you got money in here. Something that's right about you.
Crap. Now my phone's falling.
The black families have to make relative to child support.
Dang, damn it.
Incredibly difficult. When we did the first this legislation in the past, I was able to reduce
Yeah.
child care costs by cutting it
Right.
in half. We gotta make sure we provide for child care.
It's got nothing to do with it. They're talking about being in prison.
Provide that child care protections, and increase the economic growth because no one will be in the job market. So there's more to be done, considerably more to be done. But we've done a great deal so far.
Marshall, firefighter Bob wants to know if he can have some
You
money.
have 49 seconds left.
Yeah, I definitely.
What do you say
How
to
much
that?
more they now?
Voters
He
who
said,
are
yeah, Bob, you can. How much you want to let him have?
$4.
He said he'll lend you $4.
That's enough for a Mountain Dew and a popsicle.
Enough for a Mountain Dew and a popsicle.
That's all the person is.
Yeah.
Get started and make sure that we're in a situation where all those black families and those black individuals provide and educate our student loans that would eliminate that if they were engaged in nursing, doctor.
Bob says that's not enough.
Okay, $4 a quarter.
$4.25. Going once. Going twice.
Sold to the man with a toupee haircut.
Trump.
Thank you.
He admitted he wears a
He
toupee.
caused the inflation. He's blaming inflation, and he's right. It's been very bad. He caused the inflation. and
He
it's
says he
killing
needs a
black
12-pack of
families
Mountain
and
Dew,
Hispanic
Marshall.
families and just about everywhere.
Ow.
It's killing people.
Oh, I don't
They can't
know.
buy groceries anymore. They can't. You look at the cost
That's
of
not
food,
nice
it's
on my
doubled,
elbow.
Tripled and quadrupled. They can't live. They're not living anymore. He caused this inflation. I
Was
gave
that
him
you hitting the wall
a country
earlier?
with essentially no inflation. It was perfect. It was
Oh.
so good. All you had to do is leave it alone. He destroyed it with his Green New scam and all this money that's being thrown out the window. He caused inflation. As sure as you're sitting there, the fact is that his big kill on the black people is the millions of people that he's allowed to come in through the border. They're taking black jobs.
Yeah.
I won't lose.
No, Biden don't know where the hell he's at. He's talking about Nazis and all this crap. We're coming out of the woods with torches, and it's like, what? Has nothing to do with
Thank you. President Biden.
Biden is
There was
just.
no inflation when I became president of Hawaii.
It's hilarious listening to Biden talk. I'm telling you.
He decimated the economy. Absolutely decimated the economy. That's why there was no inflation.
That's why before he left, the gas was $1.29.
Millions of jobs for individuals.
I think it was like 204.
No, it was down to $1 something. Maybe $1.89 a gallon.
Covered, if the ACA has improved, and make sure that they're $8,000 per person in the family get written off for health care.
He's talking about the health care and stuff, Bob.
50 times he wants to get rid of the ACA again, and they're going to try again if they win. We find ourselves in a position where
It's health insurance.
that we're not doing it. We put more police on the street than any administration has. He wants to cut the cops. We provide for equity, making sure people are not shot to make it. There's a lot going on. And inflation, he caused it by his tremendous malfeasance in the way he handled the pandemic.
Thank you. Another persistent challenge is the climate crisis. 2023 was the hottest year in recorded history, and communities across the country are confronting the devastating effects of extreme heat, intensifying wildfires, stronger hurricanes, and rising sea levels. Former President Trump, you vowed to end your
And these
opponent's
idiots don't
climate
realize it's all
initiatives, but
in God's
will you
plan.
take any action as president to
He's
slow
not
the
going to
climate
flood this
crisis?
place. He's going to
Just go back
set this
to
bitch
what
on
you said about
fire.
Police. How close the police are there. Almost every police group in the nation from every state is supporting
Exactly.
Donald J. Trump. Almost every police group.
Uh.
And what he's done to the black population is horrible, including the fact that for 10 years he called them super predators. We can't, in the 1990s, we can't forget that. Super predators was his name.
Look at
And he
his
called it to them, and they've taken great offense at it, and now they see it happening. But when they see what I did for criminal justice reform and for the historically black colleges and universities,
get back on the
where I
rails
funded them and got them all
and talk about
funded,
climate
and
control.
the opportunity
Yeah.
zones with with Tim, as you know, Tim Scott was incredible. He did a great
He's trying to
job.
throw Biden
Great
under the
senator
bus
from
some more.
South Carolina came to me with the idea, and it was a great idea. It's one of the most
Well,
successful
climate
economic
control,
development acts
I tell
ever.
you, you can't win on that.
The biggest
Well, nobody can
beneficiary
fix
are
it,
blacks,
so
and that's
why are they
why
even worried
we
about
have
the
the
climate
best numbers
control?
for them in
Nobody can
maybe
fix
ever.
it.
They're saying ever. I read this morning where ever the best numbers. He's lost much of the black population because he's done a horrible job for black people. He's also
was
done a
it?
horrible job for
Oh, okay.
Hispanic. But when you see these millions of people pouring into our country and they're going to take the jobs, and it's already started, and you haven't seen anything yet, it's a disaster.
38 seconds left. President Trump, will you take any action as the president to slow the climate crisis?
So
There's
I
no
want
way he can do that,
absolutely
honey.
immaculate clean water, and I want absolutely clean air, and we had it. We had H2O.
He's not a
We had the
magician.
best
Can't nobody
numbers
fix the
ever.
climate.
And we were using all forms of energy, all forms.
Except
everything.
God,
And
okay?
yet, during my 4 years, I had
Oh my
the best
gosh.
environmental numbers ever. And my top environmental
Oh,
people gave me
puppy.
that statistic just before I walked on the stage, Ocean.
I don't know where the hell he's been. The idea that he said is true. And I passed the most extensive climate change.
Turn that little air conditioner off. I can't hear mumbling, but
We find ourselves, and by the way, black colleges. I got hit up with $50 million for HBCUs, historic black universities and colleges, because they
Mama.
don't have the kind of.
turn it down. I'm gonna put you in your room.
To build these laboratories and all that. Any black student is capable in college of doing any white student can do. He doesn't have the money, but now we'll be able to get those jobs in high tech. We're in a situation where the idea that he is claiming to have done something that had cleanest water. Cleanest water? He ain't done a damn thing to the environment. He, the Paris Peace Accord, Common Core.
Oh, nice cussing up there.
Because if we reach 1.5 degrees Celsius, then there's no way back.
Oh yeah, that'll turn a lot of people against him
It's
too.
climate change, and he didn't do a damn thing about it. He wants them to do all
See?
that I've done.
The Paris Accord was going to cost us $1 trillion, and China nothing, and Russia nothing, and India nothing. It was a ripoff of the United States. And I ended it because I didn't want to waste that money because they treat us horribly. We were the only ones. It was costing us money. Nobody else was paying into it. And it was a disaster. But everything that he said just now, I'll give you an example. I heard him say before insulin. I'm the one that got the insulin down for the seniors. I took care of
Probably
the
like the
seniors.
ones down
What
there
he's doing
at
is
Chapels.
destroying all of our medical programs because of migrants coming in. They want everybody. And look, I have the biggest heart in the stage. I guarantee you that. And I want to take care of people. But we're destroying our country. They're taking over our schools, our hospitals, and they're going to be taking over Social
Bob's like, I
Security.
can't hear
He
Biden.
is
I have to put my
destroying
earbuds in.
Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid.
I can't hear him
The
either.
idea is that we, in fact, we were the only ones with consequence. We're not members of the Paris Accord. How can we do anything if we're not able to, the United States can't get us under control? One of the largest polluters in the world, number one. We're making significant
Did
progress.
he just say the largest
By
prune
2035,
juice?
we will have pollution in half. We've made significant progress. And we're continuing to make progress. We still have climate
No,
change.
it sounded like you said prune juice.
People are learning how to deal with them, just like Peace Corps. And we're moving in directions that are going to significantly change the elements of cause of pollution. But the idea that he claims that he is the biggest heart up here and he's really concerned about pollution and about climate.
Exactly. It sounded like you said prune something.
With regard to prescription drugs, one company agreed that they would reduce the price to $35, which I was calling for, one, voluntarily. I made sure every company in the world, every pharmaceutical company, cannot have to pay it. And by the way,
She said thank you. Your time's up, buddy.
Americans struggle just to make ends meet. For many older Americans, Social Security provides a critical lifeline. President Biden, if nothing is done to Social Security, seniors will see their benefits cut in just over 10 years. Will you name tonight one specific step that you're willing to take to keep Social Security solvent?
yes, make the very wealthy begin to pay their fair share. Right now, everybody making under $170,000 pays 6% of their income of their paycheck every single time they get a paycheck from the time the first one they get to 18 years old. The idea that they're gonna, I'm proposing that everybody, the millionaires pay 1%.
I know, right, Bob? I can't
So
hear
no
it,
one
understand him.
I could not raise the cost of Social Security for anybody under $400,000. After that, I began to make the wealthy began to pay their fair share. I increased it to 1% beyond to be able to guarantee the program for life.
So you
I'm
still have
straining to
82
hear
seconds
him.
left. Are there any other measures that you think that would be able to help keep Social Security solvent, or is that one enough?
Well, no, that one enough will keep it solvent. The biggest thing will be we defeat this man.
2 seconds, time's up.
He thinks there's plenty to cut in Social Security. He's wanting to cut Social Security and Medicare, both times. And if you look at the program put forward by the House Republican caucus that he's like supports.
Somebody cut him off. His time is up. Come on now.
The idea that
Said 2 seconds.
we
He's
protect our seniors is ridiculous. And by the way, American public has greater health care coverage today than ever before. And on DC, as I said, we're in a circumstance where 400,000 people, 40 million people do not have insurance because they have a pre-existing condition. Only allows them to have that insurance is the fact that they in fact are part of the ACA. And by the way, the other thing is, we're in a situation where I talk about education for black communities. I've raised the amount of money for Pell Grants, another $8,000. So anybody making under $70,000 a year can be able to get $15,000 towards the tuition. He just doesn't know what he's talking about.
Thank you, President Biden.
Apparently you don't either.
So I've dealt with politicians all my life. I've been on this side of the equation for the last 8 years. I've never seen anybody lie like this guy. He lies. I've never seen him. He can look you in the face. I've got so many other things too. And we mentioned the laptop. We mentioned Russia, Ukraine. And everything he does is a lie. It's misinformation and disinformation.
Somebody needs to fact check Biden.
It's a total lie on the military. It's a disgrace. But Social Security, he's destroying it because millions of people are pouring into our country and they're putting them onto Social Security.
I know, Bob. I can't hear him either.
They're putting them in our hospitals. They're taking the place of our citizens. What they're doing to the VA, to our veterans, is unbelievable. Our veterans are living in the street, and these people are living in luxury hotels. He doesn't know what he's doing, and it's really coming back. I've never seen such anger in our country before.
President Biden?
The idea that veterans are not being taken care of, I told you before. By the way, when I said suckers are losers, he acknowledged after that he fired that general. That general got fired because he's the one who acknowledged that that's what he said. He was the one standing in Trump when he said it, number one. Number two, the idea that we're going to be in a situation where all these millions and millions, the way he talks about it, illegal aliens
Minions and minions.
and taking away our jobs. There's a reason why we have the fastest growing economy in the world. The reason why we have the most successful economy in the world.
Exactly, Bob.
Nation in the world. And by the way,
a couple of extra ones for me too.
You talked about being phony. There's 15 Nobel laureates, economists. They all said that if Trump is reelected, we're likely to have a recession, and inflation is going to increasingly go up. And by the way, worst president in history. 159 presidential scholars voted that him the worst president in the history of the United States of America.
President Biden, thank you so much. Let's turn to the cost of child care, which many American families struggle to afford. President Trump, both you and President Biden have tried to address this issue, but the average cost of child care in this country has risen to more than $11,000 a year per child for many
Yeah, he's
families.
blowing sunshine
The
up
cost
somebody's
of child
ass.
care for two
Yeah,
children
exactly.
is more than their rent. In your second term, what would you do to make child care more affordable?
The general got fired because he was no good. And if he said that, that's why he made it up. But we have 19 people that said I didn't say it, and they're very highly respected, much more so than him. The other thing is, he doesn't fire people. He never fired people. I've never seen him fire anybody. I did fire a lot. I fired Comey because he was no good. I fired a lot of the top people at the FBI, drained the swamp. They were no good. Not easy to fire people. You pay a price for it, but they were no good. I inherited these people. I didn't put him there. I didn't put Comey there. He was no good. I fired him. This guy hasn't fired anybody. He never fires. He should have fired every military man that was involved with that Afghan the Afghanistan horror show, the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. He didn't fire. Did you fire anybody? Did you fire anybody that's on the border?
Exactly.
That's allowed us to have the worst border in the history of the world? Did anybody get fired for allowing 18 million people, many from prisons, many from mental institutions?
Oh,
Did you fire
issue.
anybody that allowed our country to be destroyed? Joe, our country
They're going
is
at
being
each other.
destroyed as you and I sit up here and waste a lot of time on this debate. This shouldn't be a debate. He is the worst president. He just said about me because I said it. But look, he's the worst president in the history of our country. He's destroyed our country. Now all of a sudden he's trying to get a little tough on the border. He came out with a nothing deal, and it reduced it a little bit, like this much. It's insignificant. He wants open borders. He wants our country to either be destroyed or he wants to pick up those people as voters. And I don't think, we just can't let it happen. If he wins this election, our country doesn't have a chance, not even a chance, of coming out of this rut. We probably won't have a country left anymore. That's how bad it is. He's the worst in history by far.
Thank you, President Trump. President Biden?
We are the most admired country in the world. We're the United States of America. There's nothing beyond our capacity. We're the finest military in the history of the world. The finest in the history of the world. No one thinks we're weak. No one wants to screw one of us. Nobody. Number one. Number two, the idea that we're talking about worst presidents. I wasn't joking. Look it up. Go online. 159 and 58, don't know the exact number. Presidential historians.
They fact checked us. Yeah, go online. He needs to be fact checked.
They said he was the worst in all of American history. That's a fact. That's not conjecture. He can argue they're wrong, but that's what they voted. The idea that he is doing anything to deal with child care. He did virtually nothing with child care. We should significantly increase the child care tax credit. We should significantly increase the availability of women and men.
But that's the whole point.
And we should encourage businesses to have.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump, the question was about what would you do to make child care more affordable, if you want to take a minute.
Just so you understand, we have Poland, we have other things. They rate him the worst because what he's done is so bad. And they rate me, I'll show you, I will show you. And they rate me one of the best, okay?
Yep.
And if I'm given another 4 years, I will be the best. I think I'll be the best. Nobody's ever created an economy like us. Nobody ever cut taxes like us. He's the only one I know. He wants to raise your taxes by 4 times. He wants to raise everybody's taxes by 4 times. He wants the Trump tax cuts to expire. So everybody, including the two of you, are going to pay 4 to 5 times. Nobody ever heard of this before. All my life, I grow up and I see politicians talking about cutting taxes.
Exactly, Trump's the
cut
best.
taxes, as I said, we did more business. Apple and all these companies, they were bringing money back into our country. The worst president in history by far, and everybody knows it.
President Biden?
Look, the fact of the matter is that he's dead wrong about, he's increased the tariff, he will
They
increase.
just keep missing the
taxes on
point.
middle-class people.
Both of them this time.
Tax on anybody that makes money less than $400,000. I didn't. These tariffs, 10% tariffs, everything coming in the country, you know what the economists say? That's going to cost the average American
Hey, Mikey.
$2,500 a year more because they're going to have to pay the difference in food and all the things that are important. Number two, he's in a situation where he talks about how he has not raised, he's somehow helped the middle class. The middle class has been devastated by you. Now you want a new tax cut of $5 trillion over the next
All right,
10
you
years,
two. They're asking about child care.
We have the largest deficit of any
Get off this
American
rant and go on now.
Number two, we have not, in fact, made any contact, any progress with China. We are the lowest trade deficit with China since 2010.
Thank you, President.
Babbling idiots.
Thank you, President Biden. Let's discuss an epidemic impacting millions of Americans that both of you have made a top priority in your first term, the opioid crisis. And for both of you, the number of overdose deaths in this country has gone up. Under your term, it went up. Under your term, it has gone up. Former President Trump, despite the efforts that both of you have made, more than 100,000 Americans are dying from overdoses every year, primarily from fentanyl and other opioids. What will you do to help Americans right now in the throes of addiction who are struggling to get the treatment they need?
To finish up, We now have the largest deficit in the history of our country under this guy. We have the largest deficit with China. He gets paid by China. He's a Manchurian candidate. He gets money from China. We have, so I think
Ask them about fentanyl. This is going off topic. They're not.
Took out my tariffs because we bring in so much money with the tariffs that I
Oh
impose
my
on China.
God.
He never took them away.
Now they just went way left.
It's tremendous. And we saved our steel industries and for this protocol. But he hasn't
They've
done that.
been doing that
But he
back and
doesn't
forth for
cut
the
the
longest
tariffs
now.
because it's too much money. But he's got the largest
Yeah, I know.
deficit in the history
That's what
of
Trump
our
said, and I
country.
believe
And
it.
he's got the worst situation with China. China's going to own us if you keep allowing them to do what they're doing to us as a country. They are killing us as a country, Joe, and you can't let that happen. You're destroying our country.
So, President Trump, you have 67 seconds left. The question was, what are you going to do to help Americans in the throes of addiction right now who are struggling to get the treatment they need?
Jake, we were doing very well in addiction until the COVID
Exactly.
came along.
Well, this
We
coming
had the
election.
2.5, almost 3 years,
Bob.
like nobody's ever had before.
At
Any
the end of
country,
August.
in every way.
Yep.
And then we had to get tough, and it was the drugs pouring across the border.
Actually,
were-
August
it
1st.
started to increase. We got great equipment. We bought the certain dog. That's the most incredible thing that you've ever seen. The way they can spot it.
The
We did it.
early voting
And we
is at
we were
East
getting
Hickman
very
High
low
School,
numbers,
and the
very,
day of
very low
vote is
numbers.
at
When he came along,
Hickman
the numbers,
Community
have you
Center.
seen the numbers now? It's not only the 18 million people that I believe is even low because the gotaways, they don't even talk about gotaways. But the numbers of the amount of drugs and human
How you been, Mikey?
trafficking in women
You graduate?
coming across our border. The worst thing I've ever seen. At numbers that nobody's ever seen under him because the border's so bad. But the number of drugs coming across our border now is the largest we've ever had by far.
President Trump, thank you. President Biden.
Fentanyl and the byproduct fentanyl went down for a while. And I wanted to make sure you use the machinery that can detect fentanyl. These big machines that roll over and it comes across the border. And it costs a lot of money.
How they
That was
expect?
part of this
How
deal
they
we put
expect
together. This bipartisan
these
deal.
machines to detect
More
fentanyl when the damn
machines,
dogs,
more be able to detect
drug sniffing dogs,
more-
can detect
more
it better than
numbers
stupid
of
machines.
agents, more numbers of all.
Oh my gosh.
And when we had that deal done, he called his Republican colleague and said, "Don't do it. It's going to hurt me." No, he never argued it's not a good bill. It's a really good bill. We need those machines. We need those machines. And we're coming down very hard in every country in Asia in terms of precursor fentanyl. And Mexico is working with us to make sure they don't have the technology to be able to put it together. That's what we have to do. We need those machines.
Thank you, President
I
Biden.
couldn't understand
The
him.
question is about Americans in the throes of addiction right now struggling to get the treatment they need.
This because it's desperate.
Easy, Bob. Easy,
He
Bob.
ended remain in Mexico.
Good.
He ended catch and release. I made a catch and release in Mexico, not catch and release here. We had so many things that we had done, hard negotiations with Mexico, and I got it all for nothing.
Bob goes, I
It's
wish
just like when you have a
I was in your house
hostage,
one
for
and you
$16
hear all my
billion
cuss words
every
coming
time
out
he
of
says a hostage. Now we have a hostage, a Wall Street Journal reporter. I think a good guy. And
I hear
he's
enough
over
cuss
there
words
because
coming out of
Putin is
Biden's
happy because
mouth.
They're probably asking for billions of dollars for the reporter.
I don't
will
think
have
I've
him
heard
out
Trump cuss
very
yet.
No,
quickly.
he won't.
As soon as I take office.
Yeah,
before
Trump
I
won't
take
cuss.
office,
He will,
I said,
he will on his,
literally, as soon as I win the
rally, but he
election,
won't-
I will have that reporter out. He should have had him out a long time ago.
He can
But
just
Putin's
write that
probably
one.
asking for billions and billions of
Where,
dollars because
where,
this guy
where you
pays
been
it every
hearing
time.
that? Where
We
have
had
you
two
been
cases,
hearing
we paid
that?
$6 billion for 5 people. I got 58
Shelf
people
near my
out,
closet.
and I paid essentially nothing.
Usually I put it near,
Thank you, President Trump. Dan?
Let's turn to
Trash
concerns
can.
that
Right
were
on
raised
plastic.
about Iran. President Biden, you would be 86 at the end of your second term. How do you address concerns about your capability to handle the toughest job in the world well into your 80s?
Well, first of all, I spent half my career being criticized as being the youngest person in politics. I was the second youngest person ever elected to the United States Senate. The oldest. This guy's 3 years younger and a lot less competent. I think that this, look at the record, look what I've done, look what I've turned around the horrible situation he left me. As I said, 50 million new jobs, 800,000 manufacturing jobs, more investment in America, over millions, billions of dollars in private investment.
Well, I say, bring out the daggum boxing gloves. Let them go at it. The winner takes all.
I
won them all. Old man versus
Because he
person.
was sending people.
Trump will beat his ass down.
Cheapest jobs overseas.
Now he has to have someone.
So I went.
Go left hook. Okay.
But yet they don't have no teleprompters or nothing right here.
That's why he's struggling.
Those staffs, they call them, to those staffs pay over $100,000.
That's that's the kind of presidential debate I don't want to see. Put gloves on boxing gloves on both of them and let them go at. Let the winner be the one that runs this bitch.
President Biden, you
Ooh.
have 40 seconds
Yeah.
left. Would you like to add anything?
Yeah, I would.
Be the one that runs this bitch.
We are this family country.
Oh my
Never
gosh.
heard a president talk like this before. We're the envy of the world. Name me a single major country president.
Excuse
who
you.
replaces the United States of America.
Oh, that water
All our problems and all our opportunities. We're the most progressive country in the world in getting things done. We're the strongest country in the world. We're a country in the world that keeps our word, and everybody trusts us. All of our allies and our those who he calls up to.
Well, I don't know if they all trust us. Why does China, North Korea, and
Thank you.
who is it? China, North Korea, and Japan.
Sit it down easy.
They all signed that agreement, didn't they? That's what I seen.
Well, I took 2 tests, cognitive tests, I aced them.
War
Both of
agreement.
them, as you know, with the Republic. He took none, I'd like to see him take one, just one, a real easy one. Like go through the first 5 questions, he couldn't do it. But I took 2 cognitive tests, I took physical exams every year. And you know, we knock on wood wherever we may have wood, that I'm in very good health. I just won 2 club championships, not even senior, 2 regular club championships. To do that, you have to be quite smart, and you have to be able to hit the ball a long way.
Look,
And
Biden
he
just.
doesn't do it. He can't hit a ball 50 yards. He challenged me to a golf match. He can't hit a ball 50 yards. I think I'm in very good shape. I feel that I'm as in good a shape as I was 25, 30 years ago. Actually, I'm probably a little bit
Marshall,
lighter,
Mike Dennison says
but
hi.
I'm as good a shape as I was.
He said hi,
years ago. I
Mike.
feel very good. I feel the same. But I was willing to take a cognitive test. And you know what? If I didn't do well, I aced them. Dr. Ronnie Jackson, who's a great guy when he was White House doctor. And then I took another one, a similar one. And one of them said they'd never seen anybody ace them.
Thank you. President Biden.
You can see he is.
They still hadn't answered anything about the child care. They still hadn't answered the question about child care.
200.
And what was the other one that they still hadn't answered?
Just
What about
what he says
fentanyl?
he
The
is.
one about fentanyl. Well,
You have to
Vice
dodge it.
President down to 6.
There's no winning argument with fentanyl and
I told you before,
gun
I
control, something like that.
With those questions, you're going to end up.
the only one Biden was talking about fentanyl was getting those big old machines.
handicap.
Most of the time, it's you're
I
convicted
have
for
Yes, we're gonna
on
use it.
what you say, what you're not,
Let's not act like children.
Oh, listen, Trump, let's not act like
That
children.
voters have about you. Will you pledge tonight?
A lot of children act
that all
50
legal
times better than
challenges are
they.
exhausted, and you will accept the results of this election regardless of who wins. And you will say right now that political violence in any form is unacceptable.
Well, I shouldn't have to say that, but of course I believe
No,
that.
open that can of dog food for her and find a flat
And
plate.
if you would see my statements that I
There
made
should
on
be a
Twitter
can of
at the
dog food
time,
up there.
and also my statement that I made in the Rose Garden, you would say it's one of the strongest statements you've ever seen. In addition to the speech I made, in front of, I believe, the largest crowd I've ever spoken to, and and in many cases were ushered in by the police. And as Nancy Pelosi said, it was her responsibility, not mine. She said that loud and clear. But the answer is, if the election is fair, free, and I want that more than anybody. And I'll tell you something. I wish he was a great president, because I wouldn't be here right now. I'd be at one of my many places enjoying myself. I wouldn't be under indictment because I wouldn't have been his political opponent. Because he indicted me because I was his opponent. I wish he was a great president.
Hello, Dar. How are you, honey?
I wouldn't be here. I don't mind being here. The only reason I'm here is he's so bad as a president that I'm going to make America great again. We're going to
Your
make
kitty cat's
America
keeping
great
you awake
again.
tonight,
We're a
Dar.
failing nation right now. We're a seriously failing nation. And we're a failing nation because of him. His policies are so bad. His military policies are insane. They're insane. These are wars that will never end with him. He will drive us into World War III, and we're closer to World War III than anybody can imagine. We are very, very close to World War III, and he's driving us there. And Kim Jong-un and President Xi of China, Kim Jong-un of North Korea, all of these, Putin, they don't respect him. They don't fear him. They have
Those are the three I was
nothing going with this
thinking of,
gentleman,
yeah.
And he's going to drive us into World War III.
You want a World War III.
That's
you
fine.
follow and win and let Putin say do what you want, NATO. Just do what you want. This is Article 5. An attack on one is attack on all. Required response. The idea, I can't think of a single major leader in the world who wouldn't trade places with the job I've done, what they've done. Because we are a powerful nation. We have wonderful people. It's because of the people.
That sounds like a good movie, Dar.
People. They're capable of anything. They step up when they're needed. And right now,
Dar says having Biden up there is elder abuse. Never thought of it that way, Dar. That is awesome. That is awesome. Exactly.
President Trump, as I come back to you for a follow-up,
Biden's
the question
almost
was,
in his
will you
80s.
accept the results of this election, regardless of who wins?
Just to finish.
He is a puppet, Dar. Exactly.
Russia, they took a lot of land from Bush. They took a lot of land
Dar,
from
he's been
Obama
mumbling because he don't have a teleprompter
They
to
took
tell him what
no
to do.
land, nothing from Trump. Nothing. He knew not to do it. Not going to play games with me. He knew that. I got along with him very well, but he knew not to play games. He took nothing from me. But now he's going to take the whole thing from this man right here. That's a war that should have never started. It would have never started ever with me. And he's going to take
Oh, he ain't gonna retire.
And you asked a question before. Would you do this? He's got us in such a bad position right now with Ukraine and Russia. Because Ukraine's not winning that war. He said, I will never settle until such time. They're running out of people. They're running out of soldiers. They've lost so many
Oh, he ain't gonna
people. It's
retire.
so sad. They've lost so many people, and they've lost
Definitely
those
not.
gorgeous cities with the golden domes that are 1,000 years old, all because of him and stupid decisions. Russia would have never attacked.
How old is Trump? Trump is, how much?
Regardless of who wins, yes or no?
70. Trump is like 72 or 74. He's a lot younger than Biden is.
But the fraud and everything.
A lot better shape than old Biden is, though, Dar.
Absolutely, there's nothing I'd rather do. It would be
Yeah.
much easier for me to do that than I'm really going to run.
Yeah, he's got Alzheimer's. Biden does. And running our
I would
country.
be very happy to be someplace else, in a nice location someplace. And again, no indictments, no political opponents, because it's the only way he thinks he can win. But unfortunately, it's driven up my numbers.
He just gave him treats.
Because the people understand it.
He didn't do what I told him to do.
Dog food. Open the dog food.
You're a whiner. When you lost the first time, you continued, you appealed and appealed to courts all across the country. Not one single court in America said any of your claims had any merit, state or local, none.
Right, Dar? Exactly. Biden cannot win.
Somehow there's all this misrepresentation,
Cannot
all
win.
this stealing. There's no evidence of that at all. And I tell you what, I doubt whether you'll accept it because you're such a whiner. The idea if you lose again, you accept it.
All right, Bob. What's everybody laughing about? Why is my Genesis saying, damn, Bob?
With more from the CNN presidential debate
Oh, Lord.
from Georgia.
No, Trump, Bob, Trump is actually in his early to mid 70s.
Percent Club is the summer's #1 news show.
That's the first mistake, having it on CNN.
And Fox Monday.
Frog in the come court, he did like
Yeah, that sounds just like Biden. Stuttering Mo Biden. Or what is it that,
C.
frog come court, he did like
10 of you on that question.
come on.
no, he calls him Sleepy Joe. That's it. But Trump calls Biden Sleepy Joe. Yeah. Lying Sleepy Joe. Yeah.
The 1% Club, all new Monday on Fox.
Dar, that's what I want to know. Why ain't there any young people running in the election? I have no idea, honey. You tell me. I have no clue. I wish I knew. Good night, Bob. Sleep well. My behind's supposed to have been in bed 2 hours ago, but this is too funny not to watch.
I'm really struggling.
And so does experience. The legal age to run for president is 25.
Yeah, the legal age is 25, but you notice they don't start running unless they're in 50s or 60s or on up in age.
Where's that put this? Refrigerator?
Yeah.
Pink?
Yeah, it's just cover the top of it and put it in the refrigerator.
The top cover.
Don't make me whip your butt.
Now this is how you zoo. There's no rules. You got the real plastic straws. You got these untrained.
I'll get Nick and give you 2 minutes to try.
Oh, promises. Hey, don't threaten me with a good time, Hot Rod. Don't threaten me with a good time. Yeah.
Billions to keep kids addicted to phones.
You're the only one be hollering, oh, stop it now. Stop it.
Blackburn wrote a new law to protect children from online crimes. Now Blackburn is fighting to give parents stronger safeguards. With independent audits to stop big tech.
Yeah, Dar says the people that run Canada are a lot younger. I didn't turn it up. I don't have the remote. Oh, she say I don't have the remote. Mikey, why are you leaving out? All right, Mikey, have a good one, buddy. Yeah, that's just crazy as all get out. Daddy got your finger?
Yeah.
Hey, Marshall. Say hi, Dar.
Distractions. It's not just the backyard.
Uh-oh.
Place together.
Good night, Mike Genesis. He didn't hit you. He pinched your nose. Don't even start. Don't even start that. He just pinched your nose. Marshall. Kitty Craze with Dar says hi, Marshall. Say hi, Dar. All right. Hallelujah. Closing statements. Here we go. Let's see what he says. Oh, they're starting with Dickhead. Oh.
Find ourselves in a situation where, number one, we have to make sure that we have a fair tax system. I ask anyone out there in the audience, watching this debate, think the tax system is fair? The fact is that I say nobody will make it $400,000 and still up increasing the taxes.
You know what I say about that? Bullshit!
Because of the deficit. Number one is increased inflation because of the debacle we left after we handled the pandemic. And we found ourselves in a position where he now wants to tax you more by putting a 10% tariff on everything you do in the United States of America. I did, and for example, he wants to get away with it.
Ain't he the reason why our taxes have gone up a whole hell of a lot? That's what I thought. And he's blaming it on Trump.
Inflation went up, gas prices went up.
Everything's gone up sky high since that bastard's taken over.
And unemployment rate is
Gone up.
And
Nobody wants to freaking work. Yeah, nobody wants to freaking work.
Well, nobody want to work and have half their damn paycheck took for taxes.
Right.
They can stay at home and cry, I can't do it, I can't do that, my leg hurt, and get it down twice what you would work for a week, just sitting on your ass playing video games on your phone.
Shit, I might have to file for unemployment.
You ain't even started working. Shut up.
Fucking jump it. Fires the best employees, just get shit ones.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump, you now have 2 minutes for your closing statement.
Like so many politicians, this man is just a complainer. He said, we want to do this, we want to do that, we want to get rid of this tax, that tax. But he doesn't do anything. He doesn't do, all he does is make our country unsafe by allowing millions and millions of people to pour in. Our military doesn't respect them. We look like fools in Afghanistan. We didn't stop Israel. It was such a horrible thing that would have never happened. It should have never happened. Iran was broke. Anybody that did business with Iran, including China, they couldn't do business with the United States. They all passed. Iran was broke. They had no money for Hamas or Hezbollah, for terror, no money whatsoever. Again, Ukraine should have never happened. He talks about all this stuff, but he didn't do it. For 3.5 years, we're living in hell. We have the Palestinians and we have everybody else rioting all over the place. You talk about Charlottesville. This is 100 times Charlottesville, 1,000 times Charlottesville. The whole country is exploding because of you. Because they don't respect you. And they have to respect the president. And they don't respect you throughout the world. What we did was incredible. We rebuilt the military. We got the largest tax cut in history, the largest regulation cut in history. The reason he's got jobs is because I cut the regulations that gave jobs. But he's putting a lot of those regulations back on. All of the things that we've done, nobody's we've never seen anything like. Even from the medical standpoint, right to try, where we can try space-age materials instead of going to Asia or going to Europe and trying to get when you're criminally ill. Now you can go and you can get something. You sign a document. They've been trying to get it for 42 years. But you know what we did for the military was incredible choice for our soldiers. For our soldiers, instead of waiting for 3 months to see a doctor, can go out and get themselves fixed up and ready up.
Exactly.
And take care of themselves. And they're living. And that's why I had the highest approval rating in the history of the VA. So these things, we're a failing nation, but it's not going to be failing anymore. We're going to make it great again.
Thank you, former President Trump, President Biden. Stay with us because we have full analysis of this debate. Anderson Cooper and Aaron Burnett first. Now, stand up.
Well, alrighty then. Now that or circus shit show's over, I can go to bed. But good night, all. I love ya. Peace. Night, Dar. See you later.
In the end, he did talk about what he wanted to do in the future.